Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the one thing that pretty much universally drives creators crazy, and that is keeping track of your own content. If you create for a living, you know exactly what I mean. Managing your files can honestly feel like a full-time job all on its own. So let's look at a system designed specifically to fix that. It's called Thrimvolt. Right off the bat, let me ask you a highly relatable and, okay, maybe slightly stress-inducing question. Where is that final draft? Or, the brief, or that super important feedback the client just sent over. Imagine you've got a major meeting in exactly 5 minutes. If someone asked you right now for those files, would you have to pause, hold your breath, and mentally dig through a dozen different browser tabs just to find them? If you're nodding along right now, you are officially living in what our source material calls the modern scatter. It's so painfully common. The brief is in a doc, the calendar is living in a spreadsheet, your assets are sitting in some drive folder named something hopelessly optimistic like final_V3. Your AI prompts are stranded in a random Apple Note, and the feedback, well, that's buried somewhere in a massive Slack thread. None of these tools actually talk to each other. Which brings us to Section 1, the cost of scatter, or as it's subtitled here, paying the quiet tax every week. The real danger of the scatter is that it compounds super quietly. Your work isn't exactly lost, but just think about the sheer friction in your daily grind. Think about the time spent hunting for links, copying and pasting across 5 different apps, desperately asking a colleague which version is actually the current one, or worse, literally rebuilding work you've already done. For independent creators and founders, this hidden cost leads straight to absolute tool fatigue. Moving on to Section 2. Uniting documents and databases and basically refusing the choice. You see, there is this massive divide in how we work. On one side, you have the creative process, right? Your free-form notes, your scripts, your research, your long-form drafts. Usually, you need a document app for this. But then, on the operational side, you have structured data, calendars, CRMs, pipelines. And for that, you need a database app. Historically, we are forced to choose one or the other. And that seam right down the middle, that's exactly where our work falls through the cracks. Well, Thrimvolt absolutely refuses to make that choice. It actually combines rich pages with flexible databases into one thing. This means a single page can hold your messy, long-form draft and the operational plan for it at the same time. One record can be viewed as a Kanban board, a calendar, or an archive. There's literally no syncing by hand, no duplicated rows. Every single piece of content gets a status, an owner, and context. Ideas just move so seamlessly from the backlog straight through to being published. That brings us to Section 3, saved prompts over chatboxes, consistency over chaos. Okay, we've all been here. Most AI features that just get bolted onto productivity tools are essentially a blank chat box. Sure, it feels magical the very first time you use it, but by next week, you're retyping those exact same instructions from memory and getting wildly unpredictable outputs. It's repetitive, and let's be real, it's incredibly frustrating. The AI workflow here is beautifully structured to completely fix that problem. Step 1, you build the prompt once so you get it exactly right. Step 2, you just select your rows or text in bulk. And step 3, you let the model execute it consistently. Instead of reinventing instructions while you're sweating under a deadline, the model does the heavy lifting, but your saved prompt ensures it uses your judgment. If you need to transform 40 records, it suddenly stops being 40 manual tasks. It's just one click. All right, Section 4, portals, hiding the messy middle to publish the polished pieces. Now, if you do client work, this feature is honestly a real game changer. A portal is essentially a read-only window into your workspace. You just share a tokenized public link, and it brilliantly solves that massive tension of wanting to give your client visibility into the project's progress without exposing them to your internal, messy, creative chaos. You can even whitelist exactly which properties they're allowed to see. Let's look at how that actually works in practice, because it's super cool. You see the internal notes and private comments, but the client, they just see a beautifully clean content calendar. You see hidden properties in all your complex workspace navigation. They see a super focused campaign status dashboard. You see the messy middle and the rough drafts. They see a polished deliverable library. You get to share a completely stakeholder-ready view without ever having to maintain a second sanitized copy of your work. It's all the exact same data, just filtered perfectly for whoever is looking at it. Next up, Section 5, feedback and the archive, keeping context connected. Because everything is centralized, threaded comments, replies, and mentions live right on the exact page or record that they are actually about. You know that agonizing question of, wait, where was that note the client left? Yeah, that is completely eliminated.
Feedback isn't scattered across Slack or buried deep in some awful email thread. It is permanently attached to the work itself.
And the best part? As you work, you are automatically building an archive that compounds over time. It becomes instantly searchable across all your pages and databases from one single command palette. You can instantly retrieve old hooks that crushed it, proven formats, and past lessons. It transforms a scattered, write-only setup into this retrievable body of knowledge. Yesterday's work truly becomes tomorrow's unfair advantage. Let's shift gears for Section 6, owning your private workspace, the self-hosted reality. From a technical side, the platform is built on a self-hosted convex backend with local area network deployment as a first-class option. What this basically means for you is total data sovereignty. You run the workspace yourself, entirely free from vendor lock-in. For agencies handling highly confidential client material, this is the literal difference between actually owning your workspace versus merely renting one from a massive cloud provider. But, just to keep things completely grounded and transparent here, it's really important to note that this is an early-stage self-hosted build. What we're analyzing today is its underlying design thesis, how these pieces fit together to solve the universal problem of content scatter. It is not claiming to be a completely finished, universally deployed, bug-free product just yet. And finally, Section 7, who it fits, building a system around content. So who is the ideal match for this? Well, it's a remarkably strong fit for independent creators who are running really serious publishing workflows. It's for agencies juggling multiple clients and small businesses that need a really light integrated CRM. It's perfect for founders trying to build repeatable marketing ops and consultants who need to share polished resources. Basically, it's for anyone whose work literally demands both the creative document side and the operational database side at the exact same time. Which really brings us to the core promise and the whole overarching philosophy of the platform. It's not about doing more, it's about losing less. Less time hunting, copying, asking around, and rebuilding. The ultimate value here isn't about cramming another app into your life. It's honestly about the calm that comes from having your work in one unified place instead of scattered across 7 different tabs. I want to leave you with one final thought to wrap up our explainer today. I want you to honestly ask yourself, how much time do you actually spend just hunting for your own work? When you sit down and calculate the compounding cost of those scattered workflows, unifying your content stops looking like a fun, nice-to-have. It starts looking like an absolute necessity. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope this gave you a fresh perspective on how to structure your own workflow.